All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, November 22nd, 2022. It's got to be a lucky number for somebody, right? My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the founder of Notary Business Builder, the Advanced Notary Mastermind, as well as notary coach and author of 3 books to help notaries grow their business. Thank you so much for being here at TNT. I do have an incredible co-host that should be here any moment, Miss Laura Biewer. I will let her introduce herself because she's probably skidding in sideways, teaching notaries in Sacramento today. So she'll be jumping on here in just a moment. Love to see these hands up, guys. That's what TNT is all about. This is a safe forum for you to ask questions about your business, about how to grow your business. I know there's a lot of people questioning how to pivot their business right now or shift their business. This is the place to do that. The best way to do it is to use the raise hand feature in Zoom. That could be in different places depending on your device and the version of Zoom that you have, but it's usually under the reactions tab. When you hover your mouse over my face right now, there'll be a reactions tab along the bottom. If not, click more. If not, type it in the chat and let one of these tech geniuses help you, because that's about the extent of my knowledge. Then whenever we call on you guys, please tell us what state you're hailing from, because that can be critical to the answer. And then ask your question in the most efficient and abrupt way possible. And then Laura or myself or somebody else that we call up here to share the stage with can help answer those questions. So I am trying to talk just a bit slower to allow Laura Biewer to jump on the call. She's not quite here, but let's get the party started anyway. If we need to shuffle some questions.
I'm here.
Oh, there she is. Hey, Laura.
Hello.
Would you like to take a moment and just introduce yourself to all these people who probably never heard of you?
Oh, absolutely. My name is Laura Biewer. I'm founder of Coach Me Laura, and my goal is to help notaries be confident and competent in what they do, and excited to be here with you today.
Yeah, is this our first TNT since Symposium?
Yes.
Awesome. That was an amazing event, guys. If you missed that, Laura, can they still get the replay access?
The replay, if you're an attendee, will be ready for you next week, and you'll get an email concerning how to access it. And then if you did not purchase a ticket to be an attendee, but you would like access to replay only, you can access that by buying it on our website, notarysymposium.com.
Yeah, that was a really powerful session, guys. If you're having that FOMO, fear of missing out, or just regretting that you did not attend, you can get access to those. I'll put the link to notarysymposium.com in the chat for you as well. Let's jump into our first question with Gia. She's had this hand up for at least 10 minutes. Thank you so much for your patience. Welcome. How can we help you? What state are you in?
You're welcome. I'm in the FedEx line, getting called up real quick. I'm in California, LA County. Just want to know how long we should keep the documents on our hard drive.
Are you talking about loan document?
Yes.
So I personally hold them long enough to complete the assignment. And I know Carol recommended hold them long enough to get paid, and then make sure everything is deleted, including your recycle, because deletions go there. So you want to make sure you've deleted it from anywhere on your device.
Okay, so, thank you.
Bill, do you have a different time frame?
I do. I don't like to keep them for anything beyond the actual servicing of the appointment. So once I get it confirmed, you working with purchases, it's a little bit faster, right? These usually close and fund and it's done. So I just like to destroy them. Plus, a lot of times on with my particular clients, if the documents were wrong, if there is a mistake, or they have to re-sign for any reason, they're date sensitive, so they're worthless anyway. So I just destroy them right away.
There you go.
All right, great question. Cassandra B, welcome. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Okay, I'm Washington, D.C., and I'm also commissioned in Virginia. My question is, I currently carry $100,000 E&O insurance, and I'm trying to get vetted by Stewart Title Company, and they're asking for a requirement is for $1 million policy, E&O policy, and NNA does not go that high. And so
Right.
I'm just curious. I wonder whether or not others, I wonder what others are doing that have to have a $1 million one.
Yeah, great question. It's funny because we haven't had this question in quite some time, right, Laura? But there are a lot of notaries that have used Biewer or Biewer, which is a Berkshire Hathaway company. So they've got a decent reputation. Solid assets, of course. The other is, Laura, do you remember one of the other companies for the $1 million policies? If you're talking, Laura, you're on mute. Oh, she's not on mute though. All right.
Everything was frozen for a moment there.
Oh, okay.
For me.
Okay, welcome back. Do you have any other suggestions for at least vendors for a $1 million policy?
I don't, because I don't carry $1 million policy. If somebody required that, I just say, who's your signing service that you work with? And just work under the signing service for that particular job. I would only get $1 million policy if I thought I was getting a lot of work.
That's good to know also. Thank you.
I think that's the next phase of the question, right? Is I made this mistake early on. I had a company who required a $5 million policy because they're used to working with signing companies. So technically, even though I'm an individual, I could have been a signing company, but I had to adhere to the same rules that their signing companies did. And they required a $5 million umbrella policy for this. And so I went out and I got it, and it was $900 a month.
Right.
$5 million policy, and I got 0 signings from them. So you just want, there's a extra level of vetting. You want to make sure that if you're going to go through and invest in that level of protection for your business, that it's not just for one client. I would do, if you said, all right, look, I'm all in, I'm going to get $1 million policy, I wouldn't rely just on Stewart.
Right.
Communicating with other clients, either growing your clients or seeing if there's an additional tier with your current clients that you can get to with an additional $1 million policy.
Great. Great. That's very helpful.
Okay.
That's very
awesome.
helpful. Thanks
for bringing the question. All right. John Enriquez, great to see you again. Welcome back. I know you're in California. How can we help?
First, I hope you're feeling a lot better, Bill.
Thank you so much. I really am. I really am.
Let me see if this works. Nope. Okay, I think I gotta go like this. Anyways, this question is for Laura.
Okay.
On the bottom of this certificate here in California, it just says signature. It doesn't say notary public or anything. I just got spanked by a signing service because when I did my signature, I put comma notary public. Was I wrong?
We're not required to
Oh,
put our title where our signature is. If it's an acknowledgement, we're required to put it where we print our name. You know, before me, Laura J. Biewer, Notary Public. That's where it's required. We would not be doing that at the signature line.
okay. So thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Great clarifying question. Tanzania White, welcome. Tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi guys, I'm in California, and my question is that I recently became a notary. I got sworn in and everything. I'm excited. Now I know that Google My Business is a really big thing. I did I did start a Google My Business page, but I'm having difficulties. It seems like as soon as I started signing up, they suspended me right away. And I don't know if it's because, I don't know if this has happened to anyone else or if this is because I didn't put like an address because I'm a mobile service. Has this happened to anyone? And what did you guys do? And how long did it take? And any tips on Google My Business is my question.
Yeah, what a great question. And so I'm gonna love to hear any feedback you guys have from your own personal experience in the chat right now. And then we'll also just address a couple of the real common ones. And yes, the address issue is a big one that a lot of notaries make mistakes. It's required or definitely a best practice to include your address, Tanzania, but there's a checkbox that says, I do not offer services here, so it will not be publicly displayed. But that's how Google knows that you have a real location, you're a real business, and it can match you better with local customers who are seeking your services. So even though you don't want people knocking on your door, put your address in there, but just check the box so it doesn't get publicly displayed. And then also there is and I don't know if it's fixed yet or not, but Jim Ellen shared an article that said that there's a bug with Google Business Profile. So it was automatically suspending accounts, and they were trying to fix a bunch of these that maybe had gotten flagged. So you might have been swooped into that as well, Tanzania.
Of course.
Yeah, so that could be part of the problem. And then anybody else know any quick fixes?
You know where I'm going with this, Bill.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always contact your attorney. Is that where you're going, Phil? Call Legal Shield, get the attorney on it.
You bet.
You know, I
Ben
haven't.
Cooper tells a great story about that.
Oh,
I
really?
mean, within 2 days, her Google Business page, which was down for literally a month, got put back up after Google got the letter from the law.
Nice. No, that's good to know. That's a good blog article. I'm gonna have to tell Jen about that if she hasn't done it already. But Google jail is real. It does hit us, and it gets really frustrating because you tend to go in a little bit of a cycle. And there are some great experts like Jim Ellen, the marketing notary. He adds all kinds of resources for figuring that out on your own. You can reach out to Google. Believe it or not, they do sometimes answer the phone, especially if you have their email services. And then there's other customer support there too. But there is hope. You can get out of it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And welcome to the industry, Tanzania. Nice to have you here. All right. So Phil Shannon, once again, come on back up.
Well, thanks, everybody. I want to tell you how much I enjoyed the Notary Symposium. As always, one of the highlight events of the year, and you guys were fabulous. I'm a little disappointed I wasn't able to participate as much as I normally do because of my situation in Dallas, which I had a great time, but I know I missed a lot of great stuff on Saturday, but great time. And just want to invite everybody, as Bill, Laura, everybody knows, 5 minutes after the Notary TNT is complete, I will be doing a short presentation explaining how you can protect and grow your business, how you can have an attorney in your back pocket at your beck and call to help with things like a Google My Business situation, or someone who owes you money, or someone who isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. So please join me. I know Bill is fervently typing away as we speak. Thank you, Bill. And I'll put my number in the chat just in case you would like to text me to get the link. But again, great Notary Symposium, as always. Looking forward to working with so many great notaries all across the country as we finish up the year. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Phil. Appreciate it. And I do have that link on. Guys, it's the same link every time. If you just go to notarycoach.com/TNT and scroll to the very bottom, you can join Phil. I don't recommend clicking the Zoom link right now when you're on a Zoom call, because that can jam things up a little bit. All right, Laverne, come on up. I know you're in Florida.
Yeah, thank you very much. I did post, for those that do leave and come back, I did post the Zoom link for Legal Shield, so that if you don't get Bill's link, you can always go to the one that I posted as well. As most of you know, I work with Phil with Legal Shield. So if there are any questions about Legal Shield, please come see us at the Zoom after TNT. Also, Bill, my new feather in my cap is I am now apostille certified.
All right.
And I did my first apostille last week. It was a very, very quick success. Had a very short time frame on it. They needed the document down to Honduras in 5 days. So I drove to the state capitol, got it done in 20 minutes, got it down there 2 days later. They had it by the weekend. So everybody was happy.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations, Laverne. Can I ask you a couple questions about that?
Yes, sir, please.
All right. The
If I
first
can
one-
answer them, I will.
Yeah. This is a relatively quick turnaround from getting certified and getting your first customer. How did your customer find you?
They found me on my website,
All right.
which I didn't have it posted on the website, but they called me up and they asked if I did apostille. And I said, yes, I do. And they said, okay, can you come over tomorrow? We've got documents that need to go to Honduras. I said, okay, no problem. I can do that. They said, how much? And I told them, I said, 125 to start. They said, to start? I said, yes. Because there's going to be drive time to the state capitol, and there's also going to be document processing and shipping. Well, I kept my word and collected the 125 up front, went to the state capitol, came back, and I gave them an itemized receipt. The shipping, just to ship the documents to Honduras, was $106. And it was sent by FedEx Priority, so it got down to Honduras in 2 days.
Awesome. Well,
And no, there is no certification for apostille, but anybody that is interested in doing apostille, I highly recommend, and I mean highly recommend, that you take Judy Lawrence's course. If you don't, you're going to have errors in your documentation. You're going to send stuff to the State Department in your state, and more than likely it's going to get rejected and you're going to have to start it all over again. So please, I highly recommend Judy's course. It's very informative. The slides and the book, her survival guide for apostille, is fantastic reference and great reading.
yeah, thank you so much for elaborating on that too. I totally agree. If anybody's interested, because what a perfect pivot for this business is the apostille agent opportunity. And Matt Miller and Judy Lawrence, they wrote a book about it, so you can kind of dip your toe in it, get a feel for what this is. And then if you decide to take classes, certification, get training, you can definitely grow from there, but you can at least get the book. And I think it's allaboutapostilles.com is where you can get the book, and you can get more information on the courses and the book, even on my own website. Thank you so much, Laverne, and congratulations on adding that.
One other thing I noticed in the chat, has anybody taken any other apostille courses? There are other courses out there, but they're not as complete. So buyer beware.
Thank you for that rave review for Judy Lawrence.
Yep.
Laura, I wonder, do you have any further commentary on that? Because you have a great training on apostille work too inside the Laura Biewer Presents.
Yeah, I agree with what Laverne is saying, and that is it's more than a courier service. There's a lot of information you need to know to make sure that the documents are submitted and accepted, and that's why they're paying you. They're not just paying because they could go do it themselves. They're paying you for expertise, and that expertise includes recognizing Hague versus non-Hague countries. That means that you do the research when you don't know what the requirement is. That means making sure you have the right cover sheet. That means that the notarization is appropriate. There are a lot of details in getting that accomplished. You can do that entirely yourself. But the other thing is you could work with a notary partner. If you don't live, I don't live near Sacramento. So I use a partner who is in Sacramento, who is my expert. And I overnight it to her. She walks it through the process for me and then FedExes it to my client. So if you're new and you're a little nervous, about doing it, you might consider working with a notary who is in the right area and can help facilitate expediting it by walking it through.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for diving deeper on that, Laura. Great questions, guys. I know this idea of adding additional services for additional revenue streams is and should be on the top of everyone's mind right now, right? As the industry kind of swings a different direction right now. So this is a great forum, so we can talk about that. Yvette, Laria, thank you so much for being here. What state are you in, and how can we help?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I'm in Colorado.
All right.
Yeah, so nice and chilly out here right now. So this is my first time joining.
You just muted yourself, Yvette. There you
Sorry,
go.
first
That's
time
fine.
joining your podcast.
Welcome.
Yeah, I have a question that some things I've come across in signing up for signing services. I noticed that in some of the verbiage and in their terms and conditions and things, there's some that talk about making sure that your internet, your email, all these different pieces are secure. I can't remember the specific wording they use right now. But a lot of it is just around, I think, making sure that the documents are safe and secure. So I was just curious about your experience or anyone else's experience here. I have a Google Workspace email that I pay for, but I'm not sure how secure my software pieces are. So I hope I'm making sense here with this question.
Yeah, no, this is the great question. I love that you're even concerned about it, because this is a critical element of the integrity that we can bring to the table. So I use Google Workspace as well. They do say that it is secure, but even with that security, I would never email secure or vulnerable documents using that. And the cool thing about working with signing companies and with most escrow companies is they usually provide a portal. So there's a secure upload and secure transfer of this PII, the personal information that we are tasked with protecting. So I have found that because of that, because I use portals and services like Our Records, Yvette, which is it's a secure sending platform, I guess, for those vulnerable documents, that has sufficed. That meets the requirements of as a vendor for these customers. And Laura, I wonder if you would have any other different way of articulating that.
Well, I think a similar thing. Our Records is another software that can be utilized. Anyone who went through Notary to Pro would have heard about that option. But most of the ones I'm working with, they have portals that for uploading and downloading the documents so it stays safe. And if you're not working with one that has that, then you might consider something like Our Records to create a safe portal to send things back.
Yeah. Is that helpful, Yvette? Great.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
I think it's really important too, and that it continues to happen, is you can't let the individual escrow officer or the assistant that you're working with set your standards for privacy, because a lot of times it still happens. There's escrow officers that just email the documents, and on these loan documents is literally everything that a criminal or a fraudster would need to rip somebody off really bad, or steal identity, or have access to stuff. It's got social security number, it's got everything there. So even if they send it to you insecurely, if you're going to send it back, take responsibility for that and do it in a secure fashion. All right, Susan Mack, nice to see you from Arizona. How can we help today?
Hello. I've been doing a little more general work, notary work. And the other day I had a document that is it's called a state foreign postal territory treaty, postal treaty. And I was trying to do some research on what does that document actually do?
No
Is it-
idea. Laura, ever heard of this?
No idea. And this is going to happen all the time. So research is really all you can do. You tried to Google it. See, when you see that, have you seen the document already?
I did. I actually did the signing. It was weird. They had this document and it had no notary block on it whatsoever. And the lady's like, "You need to sign it here." And I'm like, "I can't, no notary block. I can't." So I attached a jurat. But there's like a stamp that they put on the document and they sign it. And then I was certifying that or notarizing that for, I should say.
Okay.
And I called the signing service that assigned it to me and they, told me, yes, that's the correct thing to do. But I'd never seen it, never heard about it. Just wondered if anyone else had come across it.
Yeah.
If you have, you can put it in the chat. I haven't, but when I come across documents that I'm notarizing and I've never seen them before, I just stop my signing and say, "Can I have a moment?" And I take a look at it, gain as much knowledge as I can. Sometimes it's in the instructions, it might be somewhere else, to see if I can get an understanding of that document before I finish. And then I would Google some more later. But I don't hesitate to stop for a moment to take a good look at a document I've never seen before.
That almost sounds like an apostille document.
That's what I was thinking, but I just wasn't sure. And I mean, it was just, she had 2 pages and it had copies of her passport and her driver's license. So that's what my guess would be was something to do with apostille, but I'll see if I can.
I think on that one, you probably should have, or you should get a hold of Judy Lawrence at lawrenceinstitutefornotaries.com and let her know what you got, and she'll reply back.
Okay, I will do that.
And the thing is, I mean, you were hired for the notarization, right? So you filled your role. What I like about, and even what Laura, I learned this from Laura, is when an interesting or an unusual document comes across your desk, so do exactly what you're doing, Susan, because who knows? This is how the specialties are born, right, Laura? Something comes across and you're like, well, wait a second. If one person needed it, maybe 1,000 people need it, right? So maybe there's more opportunity there. So I just keep following that string for sure.
Well, I'll see if I can log on with my phone and put it in the chat. All right, thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Susan. Welcome, Tammy. I know you're in Arizona. Arizona is representing today.
Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can. How can I help you today?
So I didn't have any questions in my head before as I was listening to this, but I wanted to kind of just piggyback onto that conversation. So, what documents are that I'm notarizing as much as possible, but I mean, really on the level of importance of us understanding what up to us to know what it is, right? We just need to make sure that we're notarizing it properly.
Tammy, you're really choppy. So if you could say that question very succinctly in the few seconds that we can hear you, say it again.
Okay. So I guess just as far as understanding the document that you're notarizing, how important is it that we know what it is? Because our job is really just to do the notarization, right? Not necessarily have a full understanding of what the document is.
Yeah, great question. Laura, can you address that?
Yeah, I think if you ask somebody at the NNA, they'd say the document isn't your business, so don't worry about it. But from a business perspective, not a notary perspective, it's important for my ongoing marketing, as Bill was talking about. It's also important for me to observe the document beyond just, oh, I see a signature and then I just do my certificate blindly. I personally believe I should, if I'm not familiar with it, that I should get familiar with it. Because one, I may have to do it again in the future. to. It may lead me to other opportunities, but it wouldn't prevent me from notarizing the document just because I didn't understand what it was about. It just is a lead for me to do a little more work, and it means there's something I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I love that response, Laura, because I'm the exact same way. I think if all we did was gonna be an order taker and just show up to an appointment and stamp some documents, we might not care as much. But if you want to turn this into a business that's going to last and is going to thrive, you can use every single appointment, which means almost every single document that you come across, as a springboard into something else, another relationship, another niche or specialty. It could be each appointment could birth something new. That's what's so exciting about this business. Did that answer your question, Tammy?
Yep, just to make sure that I'm on the same page.
Yep.
So I have a win to share, 2 wins actually.
Awesome.
I had a BMW General Notary appointment today for a repeat customer, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I did my first estate planning notarization and attorney yesterday, and everything went well. So
that's huge, Tammy. You've been working hard for this.
Yeah, she has.
Congratulations.
That's fabulous.
and so hopefully there's more to come. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add one other thing is,
Somebody else talking?
yeah, Tammy,
Tammy,
I was
you're
just gonna
really
add to
choppy,
you.
so I'm muting you.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I just wanted to add that, you know, your signer can be a wealth of information. Don't be afraid to ask the signer, what is this going to be used for? Now, if they don't want to tell you and say it's none of your business, well, that might not be a client I want to be working with very long anyways. But a lot of times when I'm not sure about it, and I say, okay, well, what would this be used for? They're more than happy to tell me where they got it or what they're using it for. Or, yeah, so they can be a real good lead for me to understand the document better.
Yeah, and who's requesting it and all of that. I love that. And it's funny when you say that, Laura. I remember because I'm a pretty friendly guy, conversational at my appointments. And I remember the first time a guy said, "It's none of your effing business." When I asked that question, I was like, "Oh, I guess we're not gonna be friends after this." That was really jarring. But it happened. 99.9% of people, they want to share. They're usually excited, or sometimes they're bummed about it, but they still want to talk about it, about the where everything's going.
Yeah.
All right, Yvette's coming back. Hey, Yvette, great to see you back.
Thank you. Let me know if, I don't want to overtake too many questions.
No,
here.
you're good. You're good today. We don't have too many
Okay.
hands up.
Okay. I actually have 3 things I just came up with as we were talking here.
All right.
One is, and I think they may all be for Laura, or anyone else, I guess, as well. So in seller packets in particular, with tax documents, what are limitations in how to explain those? Because for example, the seller, where they do declarations, or they say, yes, this is true or false. I forget the name of that document. It's, I think, something related to the 1031 exchange. And is it okay to like read those to them, or just say, this is all you need to explain, figure it out on your own kind of thing? I know I'm not supposed to give legal advice or anything like that. So just curious about the limitations for me as a notary there on that one.
All right. I don't know, Bill, if you wanted to answer that.
No, she
your own
addressed
document.
these to you.
Okay, so I would tell you that I don't explain those. I let them know the name of the document as I would with anything else. You'll need to fill that out. You'll need to sign it, whatever the requirements are. And if they say, well, I'm not quite sure how to fill this out, there are instructions on those documents. And if they do need assistance, I let them know you might want to contact your CPA, you might want to contact your tax person, you might want to contact your signing agent, your real estate agent. I mean, whoever it is that they can get assistance. But these tax documents have significant consequence regarding how money is withheld or how taxes are paid. So I would not, unless I was familiar enough that I could say this means this or this means that, I would be staying away from it.
And one thing I do, Yvette, if it's the document I think it is, where it's about the use of their property over the last 2 to 5 years, and
Yeah.
the last question. So I will read it to them without the parentheses, because the parentheses are what jam everybody up, because it's just super wordy. If this or this, 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 and this, and this. So I'll just read it without the parentheses to them. And then it clicks differently. They're like, oh, no, that doesn't apply. So no. And then I read the next one without the parentheses, and they're like, oh, that doesn't apply. So it just helps them read it differently that way.
There you go.
Okay. Okay. The other question I had was related to estate planning. So I'm going through the video library, and just in the second video, actually, around estate planning, the living trust. But I was just curious around the assignment companies. I understand that there could be one name, it's called Ameristate. I'm curious how to get, if you all know how to get connected with them. I sort of looked up their website, doesn't really show anything around how to connect or.
So they're not
any of that.
they're not a signing service, and
Okay,
on occasion,
right.
signing services might pick up an estate document. Ameristate is a legal plan like Legal Shield, and they produce trusts and sell them just like Legal Shield. And so they have notaries that are contracted, I'm one of them, for a certain territory. So, and they are very loyal to those. And until somebody vacates it, they don't hire anybody else.
Okay.
I've been part of their search for notaries when it comes up, and they'll say, Laura, do you know somebody in this particular county? So you certainly can call them and let them know that you're a notary, that you've had some training in estate planning documents. Do they need a notary in the county that you serve? They might, I don't know if they have a list, but those kinds of places, that's how Ameristate happens to work. The other way is that I've attended seminars that either attorneys or companies like Ameristate put on for free, and they invite people for dinner or for dessert, and I go there to see what their process is about that, to see, do they have in-house notaries? Do they tell them, hey, you're on your own? That's what Legal Shield does. They don't provide a notary, or do they contract with notaries? So I can get information about that by attending those seminars, or now they're doing seminars in person again, since we're no longer under the emergency of pandemic. So that might be another way. You might also find those through advertisements, or what do you call it, little flyers that are slipped in with the paper that you get. I've seen those. Let me think what else. And then of course, estate planning directly to attorneys, and directly to the public. So for instance, I get called by the public because they're doing a do-it-yourselfer, right? They're just downloading some documents from somewhere, and they look for a notary. So you want to make sure that your Google, your profile, your website, directories all have either names of estate planning documents or the word estate planning or probate, so that you would come up in the search rankings, and that would be a direct hire with the signer. Same thing with attorneys in terms of the technology, but with attorneys, the other route is really to try to get in their orbit so that you can meet them and start developing relationships with them, because you're representing the attorney. They want to know who that notary is. They want to make sure that notary, they don't just go to a signing company usually. They want to know about that notary and make sure that notary is an extension of their team and is representing them well. Long answer.
Ditto to
Gotcha.
that.
No, that's
Also,
great.
Yvette, when it comes to companies like AmeriState, they're like, rest assured, guys, the estate planning industry is $1 billion, like
Yeah,
multiple,
huge.
multiple. If one company does it, lots of companies do it.
Mhm.
So there's lots of other opportunities. They might be at a smaller scale. They might be at a different price scale. You know, there could be all kinds of different ways to tap into that. Not to mention what Laura just described with the direct hires.
Okay, and the fees that you, I guess they would set their fees kind of like or you just negotiate the fee based on, I guess, what the fees are for estate planning in general. I'm not clear on that.
That's going to be a big range. It could be
Okay.
150, 200, 300, could be 400, anywhere in there. It depends on how big it is. It depends on who the clients are for that attorney, if they're high end or if they're not. It could be how far you have to drive to take care of it. So there are a lot of factors that can go into negotiating what that's going to be. But I will tell you that you may negotiate. It's not like, oh, we just pay 150 and take it or leave it. They're not like signing services.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of room for you to target what you want to go after.
The other clarification too you have to make is estate planning is a huge umbrella, Yvette. So sometimes like a power of attorney is technically, it could be part of an estate plan, or a last will and testament could be part of somebody's estate plan, but you can't charge $150 for one single document, right?
Right.
Usually what we're talking about when we say $150 to $400, depending on where you are and the clients, well, that's like a full living trust presentation, like the whole, you know, the whole shebang kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. That helps a lot. That helps a lot.
One thing you might
Am I
also
okay
consider.
for one more question or no?
Yes, please, Yvette.
Okay. Thank you so much. This has to do with Yelp. And this might also fall into other areas too related to marketing, but I just started my Yelp page, business page, and I've got a call from someone who is with Yelp and is, you know, trying to upsell, which is fine. I get that. For me to upgrade my page. But I was just curious what other folks have done to maximize it at the free level. As I gain business and can, you know, start to do some of the other bells and whistles that might be integrated in that. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I love that
And
question.
that's my last question. Thank you.
All right, you got it, Yvette. So I would love for anybody who's had a good experience or a bad experience with Yelp to load that into the chat portion right there about optimizing that. But let's real briefly, Yvette, just as a general rule, with any type of directory listing that you have an opportunity to optimize it for search engines. So Yelp is a real powerful tool because it has a great authority status with search engines like Google and Bing and things like that. So is it worth having the free version? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you optimize it and use the keywords and phrases that you want to be ranked for. So that's your local services. You know, maybe it's the mobile notary, maybe it's apostille, maybe it's living trust presentations, you know, everything that you fingerprinting, everything that you want to be ranked for. But then I'll also add a huge caveat to Yelp, and I would love somebody to just say, no, Bill, advertising with Yelp changed my life and it's worth the $500 a month, but I haven't heard that yet. In fact, most people that I talk to, they started advertising with Yelp and they immediately regretted it. And then the reviews get kind of held hostage if you don't continue paying. It's this it has kind of a real shady component to it. It doesn't feel right on how they do that. So whatever you decide to do, I would focus on the free version of it. And there's so many other directories to add on to that. Free versions, and then real directories in our industry that have a return on investment if you were going to invest on something. And then of course, the Google AdWords is probably the most profitable that I've heard from people who actually advertise. If you're going to pay for advertising, use the Google AdWords. Laura, do you have anything else that you would dovetail on that?
You know what, I started with Yelp. That was my first one. And I'm going to say it doesn't find job free. They're constantly contacting me to upgrade and all these great new things they have. It is not worth the hit rate that you take per lead, because it's a lead. And I'm going to tell you, no matter how well you name your business, they still are like, well, can I come to your office? So you're going to get leads that aren't really leads. They're not really your business. And I have to turn those over, you know, to my colleague who's a shipping center. And why should I be paying for those leads when I'm just turning them over to somebody else? So I do not find that they're any more effective paid than they are free. So I take what I can get for free and I spend my money elsewhere.
Excellent. I hope that's helpful and great questions. Thanks for bringing them to the table, Yvette. Joel, man, I haven't seen you in so long. How's it going?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm glad you're healthy, man.
Yeah, thank you.
I heard about anyway. Yeah, I'm glad you're healthy. So my volume has gone way down as notary signing, and I'm deciding what to do, right? I was wondering if you think in Arizona there's the volume of refis and HELOCs available to make at least a couple grand a week, or should I look into a apostille? I mean, what should I look into to at least make 4 or 5 grand a month? I mean, I got other things going, but I need to pay the bills while because in my notary, I don't know. I only have my view. Is the volume available if I keep signing up for signing services and hitting up title companies?
Good question. So what I am experiencing myself with my signing company that's still based in Arizona is a huge, significant downturn in there, and that's new home purchases, right? It's been insulated for a while, but it's dropped way down starting in October this year. Other notaries I know are struggling to get any refinances. I know they trickle in every now and then, but there's not very much. There's still a relatively good booming housing market if you can get into the purchases, but again, it's nothing like it was the last 2 or 3 or even 4 years. If I was coming into this business right now, or if I was relatively young in this business, and I'm still consider myself young in this business, so I'm doing some of this, I'm in a different state now, but what I'm seriously looking at is scaling up the apostille agent opportunity, getting into fingerprinting, and really sharply focusing on the estate planning opportunity. The estate planning is probably the easiest transition right now. We already do that. It's already presenting documents very similar to a loan signing, and it is a huge industry that is unimpacted by mortgage interest rates. People are always getting their final affairs in order, and there's this system already in place for doing that. Like the law schools produce the attorneys come out in the world. Many of them start with estate planning because that's low hanging fruit, guys. There's 100 million people, 100 million adults that do not have last wills and testaments or living trusts in place. So they have, it's everywhere. There's customers everywhere for them. So they've got this machine already in place to market and get their clients. If we can dial into that, then we become part of that system too, and it can help feed us. And there's ways that we can bring additional value to the table by being expertly trained, bringing a new way of thinking to the legal industry. And they're doing it too, right? These young attorneys, virtual law firms, they don't want marble floors and oak bookshelves. They want to sit on the beach and do their paperwork and let somebody else, boots on the ground, take care of their customers. But they've got to be able to trust you. And this is where our opportunity lies with that. Laura, what would,
Okay,
what, I'm
so what?
gonna ask Laura what her input would be on this.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think Bill is right. I think that, of course, I've thought this all along, that um, you just can't have all your eggs in one basket. You need to have a good, solid foundation so that if a particular line of business is tied to something that has volatility, like real estate, you've got other types of work that continue to move along. And so that's the first thing. The second thing is, well, what are those things? And of course, people are going out of the country. People have property out of the country. People are coming from out of the country here. So that apostille, I think, is growing. Think of destination weddings, people going to colleges, out of the country, a lot happening in that area. The other thing is on the estate planning. It's not just estate planning. Remember, some people don't have property. Well, then they don't need a trust. So they might just have powers of attorney, healthcare directive, last will and testament. Those three documents by themselves. And I get a lot of those in the hospital. So hospital work, I think, is, people get sick, people die, people need documents. It happens every day. It has nothing to do with the economy. And so that is another great place, because not every notary wants to go there. And the estate planning part, I think, is a really stable, long-term situation, because you can build individual relationships. It's not like the loan industry where everybody signs up for title or for signing services. This is a personal relationship with an attorney and his specific clients. And a lot of them, when they say my attorney, it's the same attorney. I'm doing not just the first, but amendments and restatements for the same people. So I have multiple appointments over the course of time with the same clients for the same attorney. So I love how stable that is.
Yeah.
What's the ramp up time to start getting estate planning appointments?
Well, there's no rule for it. Like, you're already doing the work. So if you get if you took the daily dues that I teach in Sign and Thrive, and you instead of going to escrow officers, just started going to probate or estate planning attorneys, you can start having conversations today. What I experienced earlier this year is I was starting to pivot and I was experimenting with this. It took me a good probably 60 days before I found a client that I wanted to work with and wanted to work with me. Like, we could have a conversation, right? But after that, after I started getting it dialed in, I was speaking their language, having more and more conversations. After it was probably 90, maybe 100 days, I had 3 new clients that could pay me together with their volume about $1,000 a week in estate planning documents. And that was just 3 clients. And that's a few appointments, because they were paying $250 to $400 per appointment. So that wasn't a huge amount of volume.
Where are you now?
I'm in Washington. But
Okay,
this was in Phoenix. This was in the
oh,
Biltmore.
okay, so it's my market.
Yeah, I focus on the Biltmore.
Focus on high-end areas, right? So just this Laura Biewer course, that's all I need to get going.
If you want to get the skill set and understand the documents and understand the language that these attorneys are going to be speaking, then yes, Laura Biewer presents. She's got all kinds of training in there for different specialties, but in particular, the estate planning one, she goes through a complete trust. Well, Laura's right here. Laura, do you want to talk about what you offer in there?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Joel, what I did is I took apart a trust and then presented in a call what they are, why they're used, what are the types of clients that buy them, what are the different ways I find them, and then here are the typical main documents. Somebody's trust may only have 5 or 6, and somebody else's might have 10 or 12, depends on how complex their estate planning is. And so that's what you'll find in Laura Biewer Presents. And I go through each document in detail. And I think that if you went through it, it's about 2.5 hours. And there was additional Q&A that happened throughout it. So somebody may be already asking a question you thought of during that. So I do highly recommend it if you've not been doing that kind of work.
Yeah, and then Bill, the sign in Thrive includes marketing to lawyers and estate planners.
It's not specifically designed that way, but it's the same business model. Like, we're not reinventing the wheel here, guys. Relationships are
Yeah.
relationships. So instead
Okay.
of escrow, I mean, I literally, it's funny because somebody reviewed the Sign and Thrive book and said, these are old strategies from 10 years ago. And I'm like, but I'm using them right now, literally,
Yeah.
to cultivate relationships with people who are going to pay me $400 an appointment. So take a look at the daily dues. You know, it's make a list of your dream client. Who do you want to work for? Then you do some research on them. You get in their orbit. You start communicating. You help support them. Maybe you're sharing stuff, and then you reach out. And that's exactly what I did with these clients in particular. The ones, there's two that paid me $400 per appointment, and one that charged me $250. Now, is everybody going to get that? No, but the average, I would say the average, Laura, is probably for a living trust presentation with the attorney sitting at the tables, probably around 100, 125 bucks. If you can prove yourself trustworthy for that attorney to run those appointments on your own without requiring their physical presence, thereby allowing that attorney to double, triple, or even quadruple their productivity, then your value soars considerably more. That may not be right out of the gate, but once they see what you can do, you can command a much higher fee for the presentation, because you're not just stamping papers. You're briefly describing documents, just like in a loan signing. You're facilitating the appointment. You're picking up, maybe dropping off binders of paperwork. It could be any number of things, and that's where your value comes
Yeah.
from.
And there are
Okay, cool.
documents that are not notarized that may be part of it. The attorney letters, sometimes there's additional documentation. But what I do want to point out, and that's what Bill, I think, is highlighting, is if I get called to somebody's house and they've printed all the documents and they just want me to notarize the 4 documents they have, that's not a full trust presentation, and I'm going to be stuck with whatever my first stamp fee is and whatever the travel requirements are allowed in my state. What we're
Yeah.
talking about is a full-on delivery of documents. And so we have to be doing more than just showing up and stamping documents in order to get more than the stamp fee and the travel fee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So, what's the ramp up time and fee range on apostille?
Well, like Laverne shared earlier, he got his certification like last week or 2 weeks. I can't remember what it was. And then he did his first one. Apostille, I have noticed a huge spike. I don't know if that's because all of a sudden we've been talking about it since Matt and Judy released their book and they're on the podcast. Like, all of a sudden we're talking about it and we're noticing that all these apostilles are happening, or if there's a surge in demand for them, but they're out there. And in Arizona in particular, there's a couple of notaries that are really just killing it on the apostille work. And again, that's one of those things that's unregulated you're not handcuffed by legislated fees. It's going to depend on what the market bears, what the urgency of the matter is, and the expertise that you bring to the table on that. That's why we're such advocates of this training, guys, because people are willing to pay, especially outside of the legislated stamp stuff. They're willing to pay for somebody who says, don't worry, I got you. I'm an expert. I can figure this out for you. I can guide you through the process.
Like you said, Bill, that is very true. And Joel, there is right now no cap on what you can do. The apostille that I did, I got $250.
Nice.
Now, out of my expenses, I still pocketed over 100. So the money is there. You just got to know what you're doing. And
Okay, is there training for
yes,
apostille?
yes, there
Where's
is, and it's highly recommended. I mentioned it earlier. Judy Lawrence's course on apostille, that is probably the best training you'll ever do. Be careful of the other ones that are out there. They're cheaper, but they don't give you the information you need. They don't give you the support network that Judy does. She does her study halls. She does her ramp ups. She does her expert classes. It's continuous training, just like Notary Stars. They do continuous training, and it's highly recommended.
Thank you very much, guys. We're coming up on the hour here, Joel, but you can get
Thanks.
Judy's courses linked on my website too, just notarycoach.com, right on the homepage. So you can check that out if you're interested. If you want to get Laura's training at the LBP or Laura Biewer Presents, that's also at notarycoach.com/LBP or coachmelaura.com, Laura's own website. Laura, any closing words before we close for Thanksgiving?
Well, I hope you all have a joyous Thanksgiving with whoever you share it with. I know I'm going to be excited because I'm taking my entire family, my adult children and their families, to Disneyland for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're very excited to go down there and just really break away. No cell phone, no computer, no jobs, nothing. So I'm really, really looking forward. And I hope you guys do something similar, even if you stay home, to just break away for some time for yourself, your family, because that's why we work. You know, it's not to have money in the bank, it's what the money buys us, right? And so take the time to enjoy those people in your lives. Anyways, that's all I want to share with you. Have a good one.
So glad you did that. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for growing yourself and your business on the Tuesday. I am grateful for you this year. Thank you for being a part of a business I love so much. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.